Alright, it's time to make another program. Hey everybody, I'm Aaron, and I'm making this video for my classmates that are potentially struggling with this assignment, or just need something to reference for help or ideas. This is for you guys. So I went ahead and set up all this. This is all from my program, but I just deleted all the code because I'm going to code it with you guys, just so I can kind of explain things as we go. So our professor, they wanted us to have a class, if you're doing the bonus anyways. In the class you need something that holds the number of messages, and I went ahead and put something that holds the number of elements as well. And then a struct. The struct needs to have a coded message and decoded message. And then I went ahead and assigned a pointer message list to be of the type struct. In the public class, I have the constructor and deconstructor. I'll go ahead and put those together. And then we have 4 custom functions that I made. We have set size, add, decode, and print. I'm going to go ahead and code those first, and then we'll go through the main program and put it all together. So for my constructor, I just wanted to initialize this as a pointer to something. So I'm going to do that. So it'd be, we called it message list. So we're going to say message list equals new message. Message being our pointer. Oh, messages. Boop. And so the reason we do that is because we want to be able to deconstruct it here using delete message list. And I'm going to go ahead and give it just a value of 1, just because we don't really know the size. And I guess we could put a constructor here, but I have a different function for that. I use set size. So with set size, I'm going to go ahead and delete the previous whatever it was holding. So message list, and then we're going to create a new message. So list message list equals new messages, and we'll do size. Boom. So that's already 3 of them done. Okay, so now for add, we're going to, well, we know our 2 variables are message num and elements. So I guess with the set size, we would need the message num to be whatever the size is. And that way we can use that in the add variable. So in add, we could do, well, this is an array, right? Message list. So we can do message list and then element. Elements. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to record a video, Ashes. Message list elements equals whatever your message is. And you do elements plus plus. That's it. What's it complaining about? Oh, because it's coded message and decoded message. So this would be our coded message as part of our struct. Does it not like that? Still? Nope, it's good. Okay. So it's going to add in whatever you message you're wanting to decode. It's going to add it into the first coded message in the list. So for decoding, we're going to use this here, a translate variable. I'll get more into that later, but basically you're going to take that. Let me get rid of these IDs. I use the little underscore sometime just as a way to indicate that it's a parameter variable, in case variables with those names are already defined. Like if I just did message, that would kind of conflict with this, sort of, not really, but it'd be a little confusing. So for decoding, we're gonna I'm gonna do a for loop. So it's gonna check each character in the message and then change it to something else if it's in the translate. So just as a kind of a just to kind of understand what translate holds, 0 to 20 or 25 is going to hold characters. Translate 0 represents A, and which could equal some other letter. So if I said translate the translate 2, the 2 integer we would be representing as, let's say, C, and translate 2 could equal K or something. So that means we're translating the letter C to K. Alright, so I'm going to do a for loop starting at 0. Let's see, so I equals 0, or int I equals 0. And then we're going to go all the way to the end of the length of the coded message. So first of all, we need some kind of length value. So I'm going to do int length equals, let's see, well, we're doing the ID, so it's going to be message list, and then we're doing the ID that we're decoding, coded message, coded message. And now since this is type string, we should be able to do dot length, I believe. And then it's 2 parentheses. Might be wrong. Seems to accept it, so that's a good sign. So this should pull the length of our coded message, so the number of characters it has. So we're going to go from 0 to all the way to length, increasing I each time. So in the decoded message, well, first of all, we need to get which letter each one is. So let's do int letter equals 0, just to initialize it. So we can say letter is equal to the coded message, and we're using I minus A. Okay, so here's what I did here. The reason I set this to int is because if you subtract a character from another character, you're going to get an integer. So if this letter was B, it would be B minus A, which equals 1. C minus A is 2, D minus A is 3, A minus A is 0. So this is a nice way to convert letters to integers, which really helps with pulling from the value of translate. So so now we can test if letter is greater than or equal to 0 and letter is less than or equal to 25. And so the reason I'm choosing those is because there's 26 letters in the alphabet, and 0 to 25 is a total of 26 numbers. So the max value this can be and still work in the if statement is if it's between A and Z, including A and Z. So if it is in the alphabet range, we're going to translate it. So we're going to say the coded, or the decoded message I is equal to translate letter. So it's going to pull the letter it got, the letter ID from here, and then it's going to replace it with whatever translate's holding. So again, if it's B, this is going to return 1. And so translate of 1, let's just say it's X. So now this will output X into the decoded character slot. Alright, so then last thing to do is to, if it's not in the list, go ahead and just copy it over. The easiest way I found is just to go ahead and copy all of them over. So I'm going to do the decoded message is equal to the coded message up here. Boop. And come on now. Sorry if I end up not editing this as much. But though maybe it'll show you a better understanding of my thought process as we go along. So there we go. There's our decode function. And last is to print them. So printing is pretty easy. We would just do return a decoded message. There you go, you're done. So now it's actually creating the program. Hopefully all this makes sense how we did it, or if it doesn't, maybe it'll make sense once we write the decode.cpp. So the first thing I'm going to do is define all the variables I'm going to need. I know for sure that we're going to need a variable for holding the file name, so I'm going to do file name, and we're also going to need a way to read each line, so I'm going to use input. Or how about line? That'll work better. And then we also need some if stream for the input file. So we'll just do input file. Actually, I kind of like writing it like that better. Of stream output file. And there we go. And then last we're going to need is a translate variable. And that's so that we can input it into here. So let's make car translate 26. So that'll create an array of 26 characters. And then we're going to be setting those later. So the first thing we're going to do is cin the file name. So first cout, we're going to do please input the file name. Cin file name. I guess we could also be nice and say with the extension whatevs. Let me show you the files real quick. So we've got the first 26 lines being what each letter equals, and then how many messages we're translating, and then the 2 messages. So that's something to keep in mind. So the first thing we want to do is figure out what each letter equals. We already have our translate character, that's A through Z. So we're going to assign A through Z to a different character. So to do that, we're going to create a for loop. Yeah, we're going to do a for loop. We're going to start with int I equals 0, I to 26, because that'll go all the way to 25, and then I plus plus. Since we already know the file should be 26 characters, we're going to just do it 26 times. So we're going to do get line, input file, or I probably should open it first. Let's see. Input file dot open. I'm going to go ahead and create just a case. Actually, okay, I can do it. So what I was thinking is you could probably create a case that says, hey, if it doesn't open, either ask the user to re-input or like force the file to close. I'll leave that up to y'all to do. What is this? Oh, file.open and its file name. Yup, okay. So we're going to get line input, and we're going to input that into the string line. So here's an interesting thing. As long as the formatting's correct, this is character 0, and this is character 4. 0 and 4. So we can pull that data in directly. We can say translate, and then the character we're looking for is line, and then the first character minus A. So it's going to pull, the first thing it's going to pull is A, so it's going to be A minus A, and that's going to be 0. So it's going to say translate 0. So it's inputting the first element. Equals line 4. So this just is translate integer 0 equals character Z. So, you know, as you go, it's going to fill that in. So it's going to loop again, get line, it's going to get this line here. So B minus A is 1. Translate 1 equals character Y. So it's going to do that till it hits the bottom. So then you have a full list. The reason we do it like this and not just, you know, putting, because we could just put I here and that would work the same in this case. But let's just say they switch it up and they put B equals Y and A equals Z. With this method, it would still work even if it was reordered. Can't put it back. A equals Z. Alright. So this is how we figure out what letter equals what. Alright, so next thing we want to do is open our output file. We can just do output file dot open, and we're going to do for ours out.text. Good. What's it complaining about? Oh, okay. I'm going to go ahead and put in the close for them. So we're going to do output file.close, input file.close, and I'm going to go ahead and return 0. So this is the end of the program there. Alright, just making sure we do that, just in case. Oh, it's complaining because I spelled it wrong. Boop. There you go. Alright. So now that we're all set up, we're going to start translating everything. So let's go ahead and do well, first of all, we need to get how many messages we're translating. But we also need a message class. So how about messages? That's probably not the best naming, but hey, it works. So messages is now with class message. So we're gonna say set messages.set size, and then let's get line. So whatever the next line is, and we're gonna put it as an integer or string to a stui. That should work. Get line. Oh yeah. Get line doesn't actually return it. It returns if the get line actually returns what if there is a next to line. That's why you can use it in while loops and stuff. Get line sets a line to be whatever the next line is, so we just put a line here. So now it's going to take line, convert it to an integer, and that's what the size is going to be. Should work out. And so now we're just going to add all our coded messages. So we're going to say for, or actually, here, since we don't necessarily know how many lines there are, we could do int lines, or total lines equals 0. And then so we're going to do while get line. Since this is the last part, we can use a while loop here. So this is saying, hey, do this until you reach the end of the program. Because in the file, everything past this is how many lines there are. I'm going to go ahead and do total lines here equals stui lines, just so we have a record of how many lines there is. So technically, I could change this to a for loop. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. For int I equals 0, I is less than total lines I plus plus. Either way you want to do it, it'll work. So we're going to go ahead and do the get line, input, file, line. Alright. So now we need to write the decoded messages. So we say message.add, and we just simply put in line. There we go. Since we already coded that, this is not much problem. It goes ahead and just adds that message to the coded message list. And now we need to display the coded messages, or decoded messages. I'm going to go ahead and do another for loop. This time we don't need to get line, but we need to display stuff. So we're going to say output. We're going to say message number, and then one thing I just realized is that message add has return. I'm just going to reset that to void, since we don't actually return anything. Anyways, so back to where we got. Cout message num I. So message number 0, 1. Oh, in this case, we should do I plus 1, because we don't want to say message number 0. Alright, so now we're going to display the coded message. But to display the coded message, we're going to need different inputs. So instead of print here, we could do print decoded, and let's do print coded. And now we'll have two different outputs here, or two different functions. Print coded and decoded. There we go. So now we can return both of them. So we say coded message del message is dot print coded, and we're looking at integer I or ID I. Cout decoded message. Indel cout messages dot print decoded I. Indel. Alright, and I think that's it. Let's go ahead and give it a test. I'm sure we'll find a bug or two. It's very possible. Please input the file name with the file extension. Let's see, what did I call it? I called it input.txt. Alright, it was quick. Let's see if it outputted the correct thing. And it looks like it did not. Well, that's not good. And the reason I'm realizing now is because we used cout instead of output file. So I'm just going to change all these to output file. There we go. Let's try it again. Input.txt, and boom. So now let's go back to our files, and here we go. But we don't want it to be spaced like this. Oh, it's not displaying the decoded message. Let's see, SLD, so it's all the coded message, decoded message. Oh yeah, because we forgot to decode them. Yeah, so after you add the lines, you probably want to do messages.decode. Not what we called it? Decode, so integer I and translate. So we do I, and then our variable translate. Messages. Yeah, that's a pretty important step, guys. Don't forget. Was it the star? No, we don't use the. My bad. Boop. Input.txt, and then our output. And there we go. How many programs does it take to change a light bulb? None. That's a hardware problem. Oh. Okay. And so I hope that helped, guys. It's a pretty short program, only 54 lines in the main. I do hope it helps you guys, and yeah, have a good day, y'all.